very much. I yield the remaining amount of my time and will recognize Representative Houchin for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to the witnesses for coming to testify today. You've been here a long time. We've had a thorough discussion on the abuses of the National Labor Relations Board many times already this Congress. So I'm going to just jump right in. Mr. Ring, last year the NLRB issued the Joint Employer Final Rule, which upends the traditional direct and immediate control standard and creates an expansive and vastly costly, very vague standard. This past March, a federal district court struck down the rule because it exceeded NLRB's authority. The House and Senate have also passed a Congressional Review Act resolution to nullify the rule this year. Despite a federal court striking down the rule and Congress expressing its disapproval, the NLRB decided to appeal the court's decision striking down the joint employer rule. So, Mr. Ring, as a former NLRB chairman, would a bipartisan and bicameral rejection of a rule, along with a court decision knocking down the rule, would have been some of your considerations on whether or not to pursue an appeal?
Thank you for the question. I believe that we, as a NLRB member, you're supposed to stay within the confines of the statute. And if Congress, bicamerally, and with one of those chambers being the party of my party, if rejected the joint employer standard repeatedly, because courts have struck down this standard before, I think that would make me rethink, go back to the drawing board and think about what the standard should be. I will say, when I was chairman, we issued in 2020 a joint employer standard that was consistent with the common law, was consistent with what courts had asked for, and has not been overturned. So I think that's, I think it's perplexing why the board continues to appeal that decision.
It looks like the board's choice to spend a considerable amount of time in these overreaching decisions that have been described by the federal courts as illogical, irrational, and nonsense have also resulted in the NLRB wasting funds and wasting time and wasting man hours. Their irrational focus on the joint employer rule has resulted in case backlogs at the NLRB that have increased to 17,682 in fiscal year 2023, an increase of approximately 8,500 since fiscal year 2020. Ms. Stock, could you discuss the board's mismanagement of the case processing and its current backlog status?
Yes, thank you very much. The Office of Inspector General issued a report in 2024 on performance-based staffing at the NLRB. The report found that despite a decline in case intake, the time to issue complaints from the filing of a charge increased. The Inspector General found that the methodology that the NLRB used to assign field staff did not meet government-wide guidance, lacked an appropriate system of internal controls, and as a result, the agency is at risk of not allocating FTEs in the field offices in a manner that would ensure that it meets its goals and objectives. So as confirmed by the OIG staffing report, the increase in case processing time and backlogs are not due to an increase in case intake, but a failure to properly manage its caseload. And the case backlog figures concern mismanagement both on the board side as well as the general counsel side. In 2019, former Chair John Ring and former General Counsel Peter Robb made reducing case backlogs a priority. And in 2019, they did reduce the case backlog. Under the current board and general counsel, the backlog started increasing immediately and reached 13,513 in fiscal 2022, when the case intake was at its lowest, one of its lowest in NLRB history.
My time's expired. Thank you so much.
Now I would like to recognize the ranking member from California for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Ms. Goldsmith, you've been representing clients in front of the board for 20